and I have enabled the recording as well.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let me just share my screen. Oops, this one here.
Next time
Yeah.
we will make a more better.
All right. Yeah, no problem. All right. So as I was saying earlier on, so when I was sharing the slides, right? Slides is more concept, when I talk to stakeholders, it's, this is the concept. This is how we're planning to do things. But this is where we capture the data, right? So when I do it manually, I open up this spreadsheet and these spreadsheets can look slightly different. But if you think about the columns, they're asking a question. And if I think about the AI assessment, it's kind of two people having a conversation. One person is asking a question, the AI assessment is asking a question, and the user is the second person who's responding, providing more information. And the AI assessment is capturing that information. And at the end of it, the idea is that they populate something like this, right? So the more information the user provides, the more the AI assessment is able to add in extra data, right? And it should use a combination of the user's input plus the AI information that it has at its disposal to create this output. So the idea is that I'm capturing impacts to a project. So it might be if I'm putting in a new CRM system and the users have either a different one, then it's some of the impacts might be things like, oh, it's a new tool, so I have to learn the training, or we are going to get more advanced functionality. So that means we can now have workflow, approval workflows within the system. We didn't have that before. So now we have to define who the approval workflow users are, et cetera, et cetera. And as it gets to the output, the idea is that the AI assessment will also then say, right, based on all the information you provided, I would suggest that you do these things, right? So then it would provide a response and say, I think for this particular impact, you need training, you need engagement, you need X, Y, Z, and it might have a different response for each of these. Okay, so that's just one example, and that's change impact. There's another spreadsheet that I use for stakeholder analysis. For stakeholder analysis, I might be capturing who the different users are, and for each of the different users, it might not go into user detail, but it might just be groups of users. So it might be, group marketing, it might be finance, it might be a certain job role. And I'm trying to understand, are the users happy at the moment? Are they not happy? So how involved are they with the project? So for example, um, is the change effort going to be high or medium or low? How interested are they? How much power do they exert within the project? And then that would provide them with something like this, right? That, I need to either partner with the users or I need to consult them only. I need to only inform them, or I might do other things. And for example, it might produce something like, a stakeholder map where it plots the different user groups on each of these different sections and then provides you with a high level summary of this is what you should do to engage and communicate with these different users. So it's like question and answer format. And if I give you an example as to a platform that does a similar concept to this, but this is more for personal branding and marketing, but I'm trying to do it specifically for change management, right? So you can see from this particular platform, I'm going to show you in a bit more detail in a moment, but you can see that, for example, this is, your assessment results, right? So they provided, so the user's done an assessment, okay, and then it's provided the output for them. And I'll show you what the assessment looks like. So this is their kind of dashboard that you've got here. And on here, it will say, let me just find it because I think they've just recently redone this platform. So this is my current assessment, okay. Let me just, and you can see that they've got different sections here. For each of the different sections, it's providing me with more detail. So I filled out a form here, and the form then told me, okay, well, as a founder, you need to do this. Your primary platform to post on social media is this for this reason. And this is, these are the goals. These are your audiences. Um, here your content should be talking about these kind of things when you make a social post, for example. etc., etc. And I can retake my assessment. So if I retake my assessment, it will then open up this kind of a form, and it will start asking me questions, right? So it's a similar kind of thing. So I'm saying, my name's Imran, and it starts to ask me more and more details. So it's a similar concept that I'm trying to get to, but this is a little bit more manual, where you can see they've created a set of predefined responses that you can respond to. So some of the questions that you guys might develop may be like this, where it's simply multiple choice. Other questions might be more descriptive in nature and input, and the user might need to upload something like this. They might need to upload a spreadsheet, with data already populated for that particular question. And as you get through each of the different, questions, like it's asking more and more detail, right? So, it's asking more and more detail. The output is this strategy, I believe it is. So the output is then populated into this. So once the user gets to complete, it then outputs all of the information. So it might take, a few seconds to crunch all of the data, but it's taking a combination of what the user provided, plus it's using generative AI to fill in the gaps and to also provide them with, how to move forward some of the content.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I'll stop there for some questions and see if that made sense to you.
No, all good,
Yeah. And I guess one thing we probably want to do during these sessions is define, what are those questions? What are each of those questions? And is it multiple choice? Is it data input? Because there is a lot of, if you looked at that spreadsheet, it looks horrible, right? There's too many things on there. And it's, there's too much data. So I want to make it as simple as possible, like what you just saw on that platform. It's really simple. Click, 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 click. Obviously theirs is a little bit more manual. I don't think they're using generative AI. It's probably an FAQ that they've, a logic form behind it says, if the user clicks on this, then provide this response. If the user clicks on that, provide that response. Whereas ours is a little bit more forward thinking. It's going to be using AI, right? So it's a little bit more dynamic, but the idea is the same. I want it to be as simple as possible. The least amount of friction for the user. So the least amount of questions possible to get to the best possible output for them, for something that's meaningful. And so we probably also need to define, what are each of the outputs, what each of those sections look like. What is a change strategy, and what is it made up of? What do you want it to look like? What is the output for the change impact assessment, and what do you want it to look like, etc., etc. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, do you have any questions?
Not yet. We will definitely deep dive into these slides, and we'll get into more detail. Then we'll let you know if we have some question. But right now we are just getting all the details in one go.
So do you want to digest first the change management, only the assessment part, or can we request Imran to explain us the digital playbook today as well?
No, not yet.
I can take you through the playbook. I mean, I've got, I think the playbook shouldn't take as much time for me to just walk through.
Okay.
So if you have it at least, because it'll be good to understand what you're saying as well. It'd be good to, because I was interested to how you interpreted it. Right, it made sense to me as well. But I think when I initially thought about this, it was in one specific way. Let me show you what I mean, because I've actually got something prepared for the playbook. Let me just find it quickly. Sorry.
Maybe assessment, you guys were not prepared for assessment, and you were brainstorming before, and that's why it was not translated into the user flow diagram. But you did something, and there were certain on your notes regarding the playbook. That's why it's in user flow. So maybe Imran, that what Imran is going to explain, it will be most of the things will be certain things that are already discussed and you already
Yes.
know them, know about them. So I
Yeah.
don't think so it would be that difficult. And if they still
No,
don't
no,
make
it
any
will not
sense,
be that. I was talking about AI
maybe
assessment.
we can discuss more on the Monday session. So let's see,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
only discuss, what we can do for on
Yeah.
digital playbook. And besides, you
Yeah. That's
also
fine.
have those
That's
meetings.
fine.
This meeting will serve as a reference for you for both of these systems.
Yeah, and for example, for Monday, we can say, look, let's take an hour, maybe two, and let's focus solely on the assessment. And if we get through that, fine. If we don't, we can carry that on to Thursday. And once we finish with the assessment, then let's tackle the playbook after and the AI assistant, after that as well, because then you've got chunks and then fully how everything works. And then at least your development time should be easier because you know exactly what you're developing.
All right.
So let me just share my screen quickly, and I'll show you the playbook. Okay. So again, feel free to educate me on exactly what you meant by this as well. But if I think about what I've done, right? So please ignore obviously this stuff because I was meant to sanitize it. I haven't had time to sanitize it, so you shouldn't really be seeing the client names. Obviously, I'll have to request that you don't talk to anybody about this because it's quite confidential. But I have developed a playbook, right? So what that means for me is everything in one place. So the assessment is, it's certainly personalized as on the playbook can be personalized, and it can be generative as well in nature. So we can add to through like what you mentioned in the in your notes and the documents you provided to me. Certain parts will be filled with generative content through the vector database and through generative AI through OpenAI Assistant as well. But if I think about a user, what they would want is they would want, let's say, somewhere where they can say, right, what do I need to do from start to end to do a change project, to do change on my project? And how do I learn more about change management, right? So if I click on each of these different aspects, you can see I've talked a little bit about, what is a playbook and how to use it. And then it goes into these different sections, right? You need to do these things first, and then you can move into communications training. There's other bits and pieces that's interesting. And then, there's other things in there as well. And for each of these different sections, you can see that, skip over that bit. But here it talks about, okay, well, this is the approach, the impact, and the stakeholder analysis. And again, this will be probably useful for the assessment, even the assessment, because it will help you guide you through from start to end all of the key different things that, the thinking that I would go through to get the information. So here it says, right, well, what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to understand the impact of change, who it affects, and make sure that the change is adopted. So this section is going to cover all of these different things: change approach, the impact assessment, stakeholder analysis, and then the different templates we're going to use as well. So from a change approach, what do I do? Well, the change approach is a method. It provides a high level guidance in terms of, as I mentioned before, how are we going to engage, communicate, and train our users, right? It's simply that document which I showed you here. This is the change approach. How are we going to engage all of our different users? Okay, so it's got a template there, right? So this is, again, the idea when you said the library of tools and templates, it would be something like this, where it provides a template that the users can use to populate their kind of change approach. And as we progress forward into it, the change approach template, the particular template itself, the user can use. I thought I had it on here actually, but part of the playbook should also be, or here's what good looks like, here's what bad looks like. Here are the inputs and here are the outputs. So it's kind of like a guidance, but it's also generative in that nature as well. So that's a high level summary of a playbook. But I guess it'll be good from your understanding in terms of how you interpreted it.
Yeah, I was interpreting the same way that you are,
Okay. Yeah.
Just I think he only provided a high level overview of what he
yeah,
understood in the flow
Yeah.
diagram.
Yeah, because if you, yeah, exactly, and I guess if I look at, do I get rid of that? Let me just find what I'm looking for. Sorry, just give me a second. Because I remember in the documents here, and you talk about the playbook, you say accessible template library, leveraging GPT, the platform will include a library of customizable templates for change management tasks, offering users a foundation, etc., etc. So it's, so that makes sense. It's customizable templates that the users can use. But then you've also got here the bullet point above, and I'm reading this from the project brief document that you provided to more a few days ago. The vector store enhanced multimedia content. Other than textual content, from GPT, the playbook will feature multimedia elements informed by context-aware searches within the vector stores. So how that actually looks like, I'm not 100% sure what you meant by that, you see.
yeah. Right now, what vector DBs are, having what kind of data vector DBs stored in it. It is actually in a textual form. So if we got any, MP3 or MP4 format, we usually convert that into the textual form. Like we extract the text from MP3 using some AI models, and we pass audio into text. First, then we store that information into vector DB. So everything goes into vector DB is in a textual format at the moment. So
Yeah.
for GPT side, right now, multimedia side is currently not very much efficient, and it is not in industrial use at the moment. But we will see in future if that
And
thing is also
Imran,
available.
if you
We'll
remember,
definitely.
you particularly asked this question, before the project got started.
I
You
did,
sent
I
this,
do remember.
you
Yeah,
sent an
yeah.
email, and in response to that, we particularly mentioned that we will be only dealing with the formats that are related to the textual, that are textual in nature. For example, the PDFs, the docs document. We didn't included the MP3 and MP4.
All right, because here it says the approach ensures that all content, whether text or multimedia, is profoundly relevant and informative.
All right.
So my understanding was that there would be some sort of multimedia elements embedded within there as well.
But now, as Talha is saying, that can be,
yeah,
we can deal with that as well, by like their
later,
AI
yeah.
models,
We
that can do
yeah
that.
at
Mm.
the moment
That
yeah, man, at the moment we can only deal with the audios, because we can convert audios into text. Then we can use that text into our vector DBs for future queries. uh,
Mm.
we cannot at the moment convert MP4 file into the textual form. Yeah, we can convert audio, but we cannot convert the visuals into text, because that is
Right,
something for
right.
that we need to buy some Google OCR, and that's something huge and will take
that will
more time
increase the
to
cost,
Yeah.
things.
yeah
But in
yeah
terms
yeah
of
that will increase the
the
timeline as well.
yeah, but in terms of the like the um so explain to me what is it going to look like? Just summarize to me what are the outputs going to look like for the digital playbook? How will the user see it?
Yeah, let's say as you mentioned that there might be some training stuff. Let's say I uploaded many PDF documents, and I want to see that documents, so I can go into the digital playbook, and I can that PDF some are now categorized into some sort of section in digital playbook. I can click on that, then go into the detail. As I go into the detail, I can get more detail about the documents which I am looking for, and that that's kind of digital playbook thing.
But then how is that? Because it says with content drafting supported by GPT. So how does GPT support the content drafting of that area or the playbook?
Content drafting for like generating content, right?
Yeah, it says here because if you read this, so if I just paste this into the chat, yeah, this is coming from your document that you shared. Am I able to chat? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I
Yes.
just put this into the chat, right? So if you just read that, well, you can see it on the screen as well. So you can see it says digital playbook will be developed to provide engaging navigation with content drafting supported by GPT and enriched through RAG. All right. So
Yes.
what does that mean then? Because I took that away as saying, well, the playbook will be dynamic
Yeah.
in nature, in the sense that it will constantly be evolving with more,
With
more
new
information. There
data.
will be
Yeah.
some interactions,
Yeah.
and there will be some interaction with the user. Like, I mean, how does a user get what they're looking for?
Yeah. Let me look into that.
Is it a combination of chat plus, a website that has, if you look at, for example, so if I look at, for example, why is that not coming up? If I look at something like this, right? So you've got all the different templates you can use. So it's visual in its appearance, but it's also, you've got a search feature as well. Now, I don't want it to just look like this. So it's blog and you have things you can just click on. It needs to be a little bit more like flow, like this, you see. So you see like the playbook it has almost like a hierarchy to it. So you have, well, these are all the things that you can navigate straight to. So if you want to learn more about emails, for example, best practice on emails, email templates you can use. And if you want to generate content for emails, then click here and it will take you straight to that section and it will say, right, here's all the best practice. This is what you should be thinking about when writing emails. These are the different stakeholders you might be, talking to. And these are the different type of, messages you want to aim at these particular type of users. And then, like you said, with the playbook, at that point, there should be a way for the user to say, oh, okay, well, I actually want to now generate some email I want to generate some email content as well. So whether that integrates with the AI assistant, at that point, the user should be able to do something where they then say, okay, now I want to write a communication on X, Y, and Z. So at that point, it kind of links back to the AI, the AI assistant, perhaps, right? At that point. So then it kind of loops back to the AI assistant. And then the user has the ability to go back to the playbook and look at different bits. So for example, if they're saying, right, actually, I want to look at the change impact assessment, I want to go back to the change impact assessment, and they have all of the details there about the different change impact assessment. So, what is a change impact, etc. And these are all bits of information that I'd provide and say, look, this is what a change impact is. This is what a change, stakeholder map is. Either it's going to be from a website or it's going to be from a document, that we can load into the vector database. Plus, ChatGPT knows about all of this stuff anyway, about what a change impact, etc. is. And then at that point, maybe the user says, actually, I want to capture some change impacts, or I just want some templates. I just want some different templates I can use. Because here you also said that there will be customizable templates as well. So you said will include a library of customizable templates. Right. So then the user needs to be able to customize those templates. So if, for example, if, for example, this is a typical change impact, the user should also be able to say, actually, I don't need all of these. I just want, E to I and P to T. So I want to remove those and I want to, add in some new columns, etc. And I want to work from that. And then I want to, directly input and save that to my location, to my change impact, to my folder structure. Or I can then export that as well when I'm ready to export it.
Okay. Imran, actually my laptop is draining battery so fast. I'm at 5%
No
at
worries.
the
I mean, I'm
moment.
done.
So
I'm actually done
yeah.
now. Yeah, I'm actually
Okay.
done now.
Okay.
So I think maybe you guys take that away